Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 606 of Geeks in Space. It's movie night. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda, and to discuss the 1991 film by Terry Gilliam, The Fisher King, I am here with Nate Ostendorp.
Forgive me!
Chris DePona.
Forgive me!
And go ahead, take it, Rob.
Hi.
Oh, I thought you were going to do it. All right, The Fisher King. The first time I think I saw this movie was with Kurt the Pope, I think. Really? And I seem to recall watching it at the compound back in the day. It was back when Robin Williams was a really big deal.
Yeah, this is, I think, probably my favorite Gilliam movie. For me, he is one of those guys like Tim Burton and Wes Anderson that, you know, all of those people have made movies that I love and made some movies that I don't like so much.
I hate. Yeah.
And I think really, really could use someone to say, hey, you're being too much Tim Burton or you're being too much Gilliam here. And your movie would be much, much better if you tone some of these things down. And for me, Robin Williams sort of is in that same thread.
Absolutely.
I think he has some awesome dramatic acting chops.
It does.
But the frenetic pace of which he does everything kind of grinds on me after a while. Having said that, there are only a couple spots like that in this movie for me. So
it's the Good Morning Vietnam problem. You build a movie around Robin Williams's crazy shtick, and then you're kind of stuck letting him go. But when he comes in with the dramatic acting parts, he still feels like he's got to stick that shtick in, oftentimes for a character that it doesn't work as well for, or at least it needs to work a little less. I think I might be with you, Rob. I think this might be my favorite Robin Williams film. And as far as Terry Gilliam movies go, while I think I have others that are higher on the list for just being like awesome things that I love, I think you could probably make a pretty good case that this is the movie that he made that is the most human. So often it's about a world or world building or like, you know, the ducks or the time traveling.
Is the one that's set on Earth.
There's not really magic.
But there's still the key moments. What I love about him is he puts so many stories within stories. Like there are little bits, little scenes throughout this movie that, you know, a whole nother at least short movie can be made over or made about, that they just, you know, they put in there for you to enjoy. And that's what I like about his film style.
And also, I mean, he is truly a visual master. I mean, right off in this opening shot, you have placed your shock jock into prison. They use shots like this throughout the movie. This is Ace's visual storytelling. The other thing that I think is notable about this is he didn't write this. All of his other movies he wrote. And this is the one that somebody else wrote, and I think that might be his deal. I think that he's one of those guys, kind of like a George Lucas. George Lucas's forte is not creating human beings and portraying them in film.
Organs.
Right. And Terry, that's not Terry Gilliam's bag either. But you know, when somebody else wrote them, and you give them to top-notch performers, some magic happens.
I gotta say, when I look at the other things that this fella's written, I mean, he has a type. It's these thoughtful, layered stories, and it's just like, I mean, it's pretty remarkable. Behind the candelabra, you know, it's like
new and exotic uses for champagne corks.
Listen, I have been humiliated enough already. Okay.
This just reminded me of like the golden age of early Stern and the whole shock jock sort of form being a big deal. I don't know. Yeah.
Don and Mike, the Grease Man. These horrible people. You know,
the thing that made the morning zoo possible.
Yeah.
That there were like, you know, 5 people nationwide who were actually making a bunch of money.
And
You
they
know.
catch all the tropes here too. They've got him like pulling those cartridges constantly, like they're making it look real.
Sound effects.
And they're making it look hard. Like my imagination of how these things worked back in the day even was that you had another person who was like doing the soundboard sort of cartridge mixing. I don't know really how it worked because I can't really imagine doing it without a folder of WAV files.
Typically, you would have someone who would do sound effects for you and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I mean, you would do some of the mixing, some of the pads, some of the call outs, you know, and the answering of the phones right there in the booth. So back then.
Sure.
You know.
So this is Jeff Bridges playing perhaps his least dude-like role ever, but in honor of it, I did dig out my Lebowski shirt.
There you go.
Very well done. Very well done.
This might actually be the last time I wear this shirt. It's developed enough holes that I think it's time to retire it. Even in COVID quarantine, there's a limit to how much threads your t-shirt can show. It's interesting because I saw this movie probably in the same era that I saw The Big Lebowski, but The Big Lebowski was new and this was old. But to me, it actually, I don't think that I realized that it was Flynn from Tron when I watched this movie, because the performance is so just like, I mean, I don't know, intense and cryy. It's not a Disney movie.
No, it's not a Disney movie. So 4 years before Fisher King came out, Eric Bogosian with Oliver Stone did talk radio, where he was not a shock jock so much as like an AM radio hate speech kind of Rush Limbaugh type. But it was actually a really good movie, and at the time did very, very well. So I wonder, like, what was the path from talk radio to this in Hollywood?
Well, it's interesting that like Hollywood there's a handful of professions that Hollywood really likes, and Hollywood really likes writers, of course. That's easy because movies have to have writers first. But radio people are also a very common one. I mean, I already mentioned Good Morning Vietnam, but then we got Niles. His brother is a radio host in Frasier. I mean, there are already 3 people now in this movie who are connected to other radio programs. I mean, Hollywood likes it. It's probably because it gives you an easy in for like introducing characters. It gives you a shtick to develop who a character is very efficiently. Writers have the same thing, right? You can have a guy hunched over a typewriter and you can have like that weathered Courier font click across the screen and he can write you 5 sentences and you can know something that might take 4 minutes of screen time about that character to continue. And here we know that the dude is an asshole.
Well, it's really interesting about this. So I went to some of the other folks like Mercedes Ruehl and Kathleen and Jimmy and Harry Shearer. Harry Shearer played I know he played a disc jockey in at least one of his other like works. And it turns out Mercedes Ruehl was in Frasier though, as well. I'm like, do these people just like hang out and like do all their movies together? It's just, yeah.
I just wanted to say this guy's shower bothers me. It's just, it seems too narrow. It's too deep. It's like it should be facing the room, not down a hallway, and he should not have like Chinese food containers on it. That's super gross.
Well, okay, so the food in the bathtub is a little soupy for me. Yeah. But this is like a New York fancy pantsy apartment, right? On 57th Street and everything. So
for sure. Yeah. And he's putting the moisturizer mask on his face, which he repeats later in the film. I just love when they do that. That's when I don't know if it's your writer or your director who's thinking of that stuff, but it really ties the whole film together.
It's a great visual though. I mean, it's almost Brazil-like in its weirdness,
Hey, forgive me.
He's channeling some Jack Nicholson in this
practicing the catchphrase for the sitcom.
For his upcoming sitcom, which he will never get.
Which the other guy gets. I love it.
Harry Shearer.
So great. It's so great. The other touchstone, or the other thing that really hit me with this, is the parallels between this and Scrooged. You know, a television executive is another classic trope for you to give a job. Like the other big one is like ad guy. Like I'm gonna pitch the big advertising deal. Yeah. Like that's the other one I think that Hollywood really likes. But Scrooged has so many of the same vibes. You know, that turning into the 90s fashion executive greed, all of that stuff. It's so good.
This I thought was interesting because so you know there's a mass shooting.
Turned the gun on himself and shot a hole through his head.
So first of all, like, you know, now we have this, it seems like every other day, but they also draw a really clear line to the radio personality that inspired him, and presumably it ends his career, or at least throws him off enough that it ends his career. And that I feel like is something that you never see.
Consequence?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's a movie.
I don't know. I mean, maybe not consequence for, you know, certain actors. Actors, I mean, like, you know, people directly involved. But I think people get canceled for a lot of shit now. And this certainly would be one of those things. This would be a PR nightmare if it happened right now.
Channel 7 News.
Damn. Thanos snaps.
Yep.
5 years later. Video spot. The thing is, you know that I was working at a video store.
Did your store
mid-80s.
also have 70 copies of Roxanne?
Yes.
Because
yes,
if you watch, every shot with videotapes has copies of Roxanne, which, by the way, I've never seen.
Oh, it's fantastic. First of all, it's a great movie. But
you'll also notice here there are what appear to be two separate Baron von Munchausen posters. The bit larger one on the right, and then you can make out some sort of floating Munchausen head on the left.
Yeah, in the upper left, yeah.
Yep.
And then there's Brazil. There's
Brazil.
Yeah,
that shows up in a little bit,
and it comes up later too. But yeah, there's a Brazil sort of trifold thing there.
Here's Brazil,
and there's Brazil again. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess probably easy to get the clearance. You don't have to ask as much permission.
Yeah. I can't blink without pain. Wait, this is Zen.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big titty, spread cheeky kind of thing.
Excuse me, I just want to borrow
So,
him.
actually, I was actually a few seconds fast there.
Oh.
So I was gonna say one of my guilty pleasures is parody porn names.
Totally.
And,
for sure.
Ordinary.
The movie she picks is Ordinary Peoples. I think it is absolutely hilarious.
They have a couple other great ones. They have a couple other great ones later too. And
They break out Creamer versus Creamer later. Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's so silly.
All I know is that if we put together all the time that we have collectively spent coming up with parody porn names just while sitting on the fishing boat, we probably could film a full feature-length movie just with us naming names.
For sure.
It's a good time-honored tradition.
I got to tell you, one of the things that killed me about this video store is all the paper cartons falling all the time, when he's showing Amanda around later. And I just remember we always had none of the videotapes out front because they were expensive and people would steal them, right? But yeah, man, and they get so frayed and gross.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody marked this later on, but to your point about that, there's the moment later on where a as yet unintroduced Amanda Plummer shows up and knocks over half of the store.
Half the store.
And no store is that poorly constructed. That's just not no. That's bad design.
In the mid to late 80s, Rob Malda, they were all this crappy. I picked up so many knocked over things, and you'd have so many you'd file them, so it was like a domino effect anytime anything happened. It was infuriating.
And to be
I'm
fair,
still angry about it.
And to be fair, her character is chaos incarnate walking, right?
Yes.
Her character. So Kat and I watched the first half of the movie together, and she was just getting so angry at that actress. She was just so mad. Like, stop it.
So this movie is filled, as you pointed out right at the beginning, just of little teeny, bits of symbolism. And let this play here a second. Oh, again, it started a second too late. He says, "Here you go, Mr. Bum."
Yeah.
Mr. Bum.
And it's like this whole movie is sort of that super honest sweetness, even if it's a little painful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it only works. There you go. It only works because you have an actor who can take what's happening here. I mean,
yeah.
There were nominations around for this movie, weren't there?
Yeah.
I believe Mercedes won
She did.
best
great.
supporting actress.
Yeah.
Yeah, she deserved it.
Well, now it's time for us to get to the second part of the movie, introducing our other main character.
You speak English? Let the bum go, dipshit!
The fashion for this, again, you're just leaning in on Gilliam's old styles. I mean, you can see bits of this scattered through Jabberwocky or the Holy Grail. This is he's got a look, man. There's just nothing he can do about it.
Yeah.
And you look at this scene, one wonders exactly what series of events led to that Cadillac being on top of all those other cars.
Piled up junk cars under the bridge for some reason. Yeah.
I have a lot of problems with this sequence in general, but mostly what I have a hard time comprehending, I have a really hard time comprehending that bums just just street people walk around, find a guy, and it's like, hey, it'd be fun to beat up this guy for no reason. I get stealing.
This whole scene was actually based on a real event. There were a bunch of kids who were, I think it was in Long Island, who were setting homeless people on fire.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not unheard of in big cities.
I have a hard time when I can't even comprehend the motivation of
the horror,
people.
the horrificness of it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This sequence is really good.
Yeah, I love his defense move here, which is
How about you? I like a Gershwin tune. How about you?
I mean, the sheer craziness of it scares people off.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's great.
Yep. I would run if I saw those people, but I guess I would run if I saw pretty much any of these people, because nobody's good here.
Yeah, backwards cap guy under a bridge in New York. You don't need to be there.
Also, I think there are 3 separate sequences that they're filming underneath the same chunk of bridge.
Yep.
Popular set.
Yes. I mean, you can block it off. You can easily take it over. I mean,
Yep.
It's like that one alley in New York that looks like a New York alley, so they film in it 300 nights a year.
Yeah, because there's really not that many alleys,
Let's see.
What's funny is all their exterior shots were actually filmed in New York, but all the interior stuff was the soundstage in Los Angeles. Apparently, so.
I must have had the wrong timestamp on this. I'll have to jump forward. Bam, bam, bam. And that doll appears a lot. doll gets more screen time than most of the women.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. There's
your-
my ducks.
The boiler room, yeah.
Just adding to the legacy of Terry Gilliam.
Let me talk to you about ducks.
I really screwed up the times on these.
I'm
Don't worry about it though. I was just
What were you
going
gonna talk
to
about?
get to that scene where his arm is on fire. He freaks out, puts it out. Everyone sits and looks at him
Claps.
quiet, and then they all start clapping.
Yeah.
You know, I love the place Perry brings him.
Yep. So I just thought when I saw that, I'm like, oh, you could totally make those and sell those on on Etsy today. Like
For sure.
people would snatch those up. Ford F-150 swords.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'd make a fortune. Although it would be made of aluminum today, whereas back
Yeah,
then it would have been
it's true.
steel. So,
Yeah. Back then, that would be a dangerous weapon.
yeah, right?
Nowadays, if you got hit by it, it would bend a lot.
Yeah.
Just the sound bite here.
I'm the janitor of God. I know.
I know.
And this is where he goes into his vision of the fat people telling him that he's the chosen, or that he's going to find the chosen one, and
And he has to get the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's like, I know it sounds crazy.
This is what happened. I'm
this
the
is
janitor
actually-
of God.
This is the second time that Robin Williams brings up great bowel movements, too. So this is what I thought that you were going to talk about, but I wanted to make sure.
Really satisfying bowel movements. You know those ones that border on mystical, where you're like,
I hate
mean,
to say, but I think you've all heard me give speeches that are almost, but not intending to touch this. I think I've just had that. I've given monologues exactly like that.
Well, Rob, we don't mind. We actually mind when you do it from the toilet.
Yeah.
We can wait to broadcast until you're done.
Is that why we lost all those episodes in the middle? Because I kept
Yeah,
trying
exactly.
to change carts from the mixing board in my toilet. All right, that might not be true.
Maybe not.
and blew the place apart. Splattered her brains.
Is this,
This
are
one's-
your chimes off, Rob?
A little bit.
So this is where you learn that Perry is one of the victims of the shooter that Jeff Bridges, incited, and that his wife was killed, and he went absolutely crazy, and the super has been letting him live in the basement.
Thus making this one of the saddest movies ever made.
What I'm impressed by, though, is that the super keeps files on it. Like, he's very well organized with his vagrant tenant.
Yeah, he has all the stuff from his old apartment too.
Yeah.
You could have been attacked, you could have been raped, God knows what.
That man carries more in his eyes in some of these scenes. Like, it just tears me up.
Actor.
So here we are, 30 minutes in this movie, and now the movie has basically changed tone and direction 3 times now. So you're like, wow, this movie was going to be about this, now it's different, and now it's about this, now it's different. Creamer versus Creamer.
Creamer versus Creamer. That's why I marked this one. Just play a little bit, because she pulls it off, too.
What are you looking for? You looking for a story? What?
I'm single in most of them.
Here, Creamer versus Creamer. Won an award. Go.
Won an award.
What an award.
One award. Go.
What award? I don't even want to know.
Best adaptation.
What are you looking for a story?
Little Grail? Yeah, I know that one. That was like Jesus Juice Glass.
Her expression there, too, is like,
Yeah.
what?
This is I was trying to come up with a ranking of Grail related movies, and I think this is number 3. I think Monty Python's gonna have to win, and I think Indiana Jones 3 might trump that. But I think this might be number 3. But those other ones, they did not have Jesus Juice. Oh wait, I have to.
Maybe she meant Jesus for the Jews.
Maybe it was a Michael Jackson thing.
Yeah.
I think my note here was something to the effect of, it's a Terry Gilliam movie because he is using fog, smoke effects everywhere. If you can do that, there you go. You can fill an awful lot of frame with steam.
Well, also the hallucination of the warrior character looks very, the samurai from Brazil.
It's Jabberwocky to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we're introduced to Perry's new love interest, which he follows around during the day, knows what she does. And this is the part of the movie that when I started watching again, I thought, I wonder how this part is going to age. Because when I watched it at first, indeed, it was, he's simple. He just loves her. He doesn't know what to do. He's just very interested in her. But it is a little stalky.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot stocky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that rescues it is she is as bizarrely broken as he is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And this is a really weird performance in a movie filled with
Amanda
weird
Plummer is known for weird performances, though. I mean, she's your go-to weird performance.
Oh, for sure.
For like 30 years.
I kept when Kat and I were watching, I kept trying to work in things like, I'm gonna shoot every motherfucking one of you, but she didn't think that was as funny as I did.
Wow.
But yeah, this is super stalkery. It's super creepy. And I don't think anybody marked kind of the resolution of this part where he confesses it all to her. And in that moment, if you are lucky, if there's a restraining order put against you in that moment in the real world. If you're lucky, I think that getting tased or maced is more plausible.
That's the minimum bar.
Yeah.
For that kind of behavior.
Yeah, gentlemen, this is not how you treat a woman.
So just go ahead and play this for 5 seconds.
Bye. Yes. Bye. Bye.
So right before this, he's on the phone screaming, "Sell, sell, sell." Then Perry hands him the $50 he got and starts screaming, "Buy, buy, buy." This is just one of those little mini stories in this.
Yeah.
Like that character, whoever made that character wrote at least a couple pages of backstory about how he got there and what he's doing. I find that dude delightful.
Yeah, I mean, Robin Williams' whole Under the Bridge posse is just like a collection of really weird, fun side characters. I guess, and some that are hard to stomach. This is a weird ass building. Is this where they filmed the new Ghostbusters?
That's a good question.
I just thought of that now.
It's a high school, Horace High School, I want to say. Here, what do we got? Locations, because I was looking at the filming location.
It's a really odd building.
Yeah. Keep going on. We'll come back to it.
That's how we roll.
Yeah, I just marked this. This is our first time seeing the Red Knight, and like you could transplant him into 4 other Gilliam movies and no one would blink.
I will say, I don't know if this is actually being composited or if this was shot, but I love the color here. It is just so much popping red, and like with the of course steam and everything, and the way that it's pushed in front of the background, it's so surreal. This is a picture taken by a man who likes holding his camera, likes looking at cool things.
Yes, this is the Hunter College High School. So there you go.
I think we've probably all seen those rocks.
Yeah, Franny. I got a picture of Franny on them.
So He's just chased the Red Knight with the help of the chosen one, Jeff Bridges. And this may be my favorite line in the whole movie. Go ahead and play it.
No run, didn't we? Oh, if we had horses, we'd have had his ass. Oh, boy.
I love that line so much. If we would have had horses, we would have had his ass.
Oh boy.
Love it.
Man. This is a good looking movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really something.
Especially when you're limited essentially to being in the real world and generally real locations in New York. Like, man.
And I just noted the composition of this shot where, like,
Brilliant.
Bridges is in frame. He's trying to distance himself. You know, you have I'm blanking on the name of the actor there. You know, playing the
Pick a word.
Yep.
Landmine.
Yep. Trans Ishmael drag maybe. But yeah, this is looks good.
For sure. Yeah, like I said, there are a lot of shots in this movie.
He's got the beams of lights.
Yeah, the light streaming through, and there's some sort of graffiti on the wall that they had to have put there,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's to be as talented as the folks behind this movie.
And love this comeback line right here.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll just love bleeding and horse shit. How very Gandhi-esque of you.
Everything about him is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that actor, he's so good. He's been in so many things,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
No, I looked him up.
I mean,
and
he
was
really
like,
brings it up, you know.
Yeah. Man, now I got to look up his full name. I didn't write it down.
It's Michael Jeter.
Yeah,
well,
but he's in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, like hundreds of credits.
And here it is. This whole sequence is, I think, one. Like, there's so much story being told between Tom Waits talking here and Perry following her when people start to dance. It's just amazing.
Yeah, that's a weird sequence too.
Yeah, I have that noted in a couple minutes here.
There we go. There's a shot with the
This monologue though is perfect.
Yeah, I don't think I saw him the first time I watched this either. And some of you, Nate, I don't know if you're the one that noted that.
Yeah, no, yeah. I missed it totally.
I
too.
wouldn't have
like,
known what he looked like in 1998.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, and I could go with his whole speech, but I time-stamped the very end when he gives his, the very end of what he has to say, but here.
See, I'm what you call kind of a moral traffic light, really. I'm like saying red, go no further.
Because he's just explained how his life is pretty much a cautionary tale for why you have to kiss your boss's ass.
Yep.
Why you have to go to that job you don't like,
Yeah.
because you got shit to do and responsibilities. And there's a line in there too where people aren't looking at him. He's like, they're paying so they don't have to look.
Yep, they're paying. They don't have to look.
So I had a question about this that, again, another set question. I know you obviously can't film in the White House, and I know that there are like people like routinely film at like the Gerald R. Ford Library and stuff because they have an Oval Office that's like a flawless replica of the real Oval Office, things like that. Can you film in Grand Central?
Yeah, tons of people do.
That just
I mean, they usually do it late at night, and they shine lights on the outside windows from outside. I mean, yeah.
All right. That just seems crazy to me that you'd be able to do that.
I love how flawlessly they go into dance as he's following her, just like in his, fairy tale like love, and how as soon as she disappears, everyone just goes straight back to walking. It's just like, it is amazing.
The transition that is part of it, definitely.
And this is definitely one of those things where, like, Jabberwocky is a great example of where Gilliam starts, right? It's a mess. It is a really low-budget, crappily made movie. Yep. But it still's got the elements of a man who will one day demonstrate true talent. But to be able to jump tones like this, you know, and take the audience with you, love it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Jump a little bit.
Nate and mine's basically are together. You know, is my notes.
You know, I actually had like 15 more notes, and they were all ones that you guys got. So thank you.
I'm cloud busting, Jack. You ever done it? You lie on your back and you concentrate on the clouds and you break them apart with your mind. It's wild. No, but you have
No, but you have to be naked.
You gotta be naked. I don't know what percentage of movies we've done that somehow prominently feature wangs.
Yeah, our male nudity quotient at GIS is pretty high.
You know, I'm not saying that. Go ahead.
There's no wang in this.
Yeah, there's a little bit of wang.
There's some wang.
No, he's wearing a cover.
You should watch it on a bigger TV.
Did you watch the 480p version?
There were 480p's in this?
Unlike the other movie, you do not see his penis.
Right,
I'm telling you.
You see it once.
I gotta tell you, man, I'm not gonna frame by frame through it and prove us right or wrong. I thought I saw some wang.
I mean, I guess it's possible. It was a you know,
like some fabric
banana hammock, you know, yeah.
Because Kat and I discussed merkins at some point. Because the discussion was that to give confidence to the male actors, sometimes they give them just a big old fake. Because they got to be naked on set for a while.
They give him a Wahlberg. You know,
Yeah.
they give him
a Wahlberg.
Yeah, go to 5831 and let it play for like 10 seconds.
New York.
No.
No one's allowed to be naked in the field in New York. It's too Midwestern.
Come on, Jack.
It's true.
Yeah. Look at how hairy that guy is. It's like we made him in our character creator in the game.
Robin Williams is an extraordinarily hairy man.
Yeah.
Actually, we jump a bit here. Don't
I have to
we?
be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of Robin Williams because he's just so much.
He's a lot.
And I thought he was terrific in this movie. I thought he was perfectly restrained.
I think that this is the movie that best makes use of his skills.
It does.
I mean, you can argue that like a Good Morning Vietnam or like one of the movies
Aladdin.
where he's just allowed to be crazy frenzy performer. But that's a different thing. Then he's just Robin Williams, and you're trying to catch him in a bottle. This is actually trying to use him as a performer, and man, he can do it.
Now we certainly had some interesting people show up at the office through the years, right? But
yep.
Nothing like this ever.
No.
I think this is Mr. Noodle's, as Amblou pointed out, this is, you know, Mr. Noodle's finest hour, I believe. Right here is the Lydia song.
This is tough to watch.
Play like 5 seconds of it, just a little bit.
Lydia. Some people can get their kicks.
I'm actually kind of impressed. He hits most of those notes pretty well.
He does a great job. Like
nails it.
It's a solid performance.
Yeah. I'm not sure that everybody else agrees.
I like the reaction of everyone in the office, which is just like, oh man, this breaks up our poor, pathetic, boring existence.
Right?
Like,
thank God nobody's shoving our cubicle walls over and making our walls narrower, because that happens in these movies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that sequence is a lot. And now
But that guy brings it though.
And now we're in earnest on the wooing part of the movie, the heisty wooing. I don't know what would this trope be? The fixer-upper?
Well, it's like a mix of Roxanne
Oh.
and My Fair Lady, right? So yeah. Well, not my, yeah, The Fixer Upper. And Hitch.
Hitch.
This sequence I just really like.
I am your man, then. Let's do it right here. Let's go to that place of splendor in the grass.
Jack,
Behold my magic wand and free your golden orbs right now.
over here.
You know what I...
So I just wanted to point out, why does Robin Williams always have to get on a table when he's teaching?
Yeah, it's true.
That's what he does.
I actually like that she handles him completely well.
I love that when Jeff Bridges comes back on camera, he's like, "What took you so long?"
Yeah, I mean, let's be clear. He's crazy. But, like, she thinks it's funny. That was good-natured. There's a lot of things in this movie that you can't really do.
Well, it's clear to all the participants in this that he's kidding.
He is trying to get a rise out of Jack hit there.
Here we got a little more of the face masking.
Time to transform him
into a hairy god
with a stapled on suit.
And she is such a mess.
Yeah.
She's perfect.
Yeah, she's
for him or for you.
Yeah. For the movie, for him.
So I just wanted to note
this suit.
The
is ridiculous.
suit. So I understand that in the context of this movie, I assume that he is wearing a suit owned by Flynn, which explains its ill-fitting nature. However,
also baggy suits, they were kind of in.
That was the 90s. And so I'm actually kind of wondering, is this ahead of the curve, or does this start the trend? Because by 5 years from now, you see full-grown men with suits nearly down to their knees, and that is just how jackets are.
So a zoot suit, even at this point, was ridiculous. Nobody would have worn it. But yeah, this is not a well-fitting suit. A classic hobo art.
This scene I actually have mixed feelings on. I think it's funny, but like he talks about how she like goes for dumplings all the time, but she can't work chopsticks.
Yeah. Well, she couldn't when they were stalking her before.
It just like he says he stalks her. He in his stalking monologues, like you get dumplings every day or every Wednesday or whatever. Like seems like you'd figure it out. They're not.
Well, you watch when she's eating earlier and she can't work chopsticks.
Yeah, she's like throwing them around.
That's part of the deal.
Yeah, she's messed up.
Amanda Plummer.
She's a weird one.
I think it's really a testament to her skills as an actor. I mean, she's just a normal person in the real world, but
she definitely seems
characters.
Seems the character takes over for sure.
Have her and Daniel Day-Lewis in the same movie, you know.
They loved and broke up all in the space of 30 seconds. And I don't remember having the first kiss, which I think is the best part.
It was so very special to me.
There it is.
Yeah.
He professes his love, lets her know, hey, I've been kind of stalking you for a while. I hope that's cool. You know, back in the day, I know it was cool. It's not as cool now. I'm not going to go upstairs and sleep with you because I love you, and which is great because it's an emotional high and everything's about to get ruined.
Yeah.
It's everything Robert likes in a movie. You're just so happy and you think everything's going to be all right. And then the rug just comes tearing out.
Here's
I love the use of the bevel of the glass to show him breaking.
Yep. I had this paused for a while because I had to retrieve a beverage, and this was my pause point, and I thought a lot about that, you know.
Yeah.
It's things like this that you don't get in most of the stuff that's being made now. most of the stuff now has too much improv in it. It's not being run by people who are like camera nerds, stuff like that. It's just not this sort of quality, not this level of skill. It's subtle. I guess not subtle, but smart.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, so now it gets really bad.
Yeah, they go pretty deep into the flashback here.
So yeah, this is where he really leans in and goes all Gilliam. There's monsters and fog and flashing and screaming and weird angles
and
horrible. What's happened to him?
Yeah, the at one point there's a scene. Yeah, you can kind of see it here. Like that is some gore on him. Like
she's literally had her face shot out into him.
Yeah,
it's like
you know, I feel like maybe that would scar you in some way.
Yeah.
But again, there's these two douchebags out here, and they're gonna go beat up homeless people again. I hate that.
Yeah, went past 142.09.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling good.
How
else to put it, Lou?
Never mind. I go there, I guess. Try just 142 once. I'm sorry.
Whatever. This is 142 even.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There. That was it.
The thank you.
He thanks them as they're ending his life.
Wow.
You know.
That's some dark shit, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
And again, a Robin Williams performance. You need an actor with a bit of the crazy to pull something like that off, and he does.
And Jack is still an a-hole, just in case you were wondering.
Right.
Yeah, he gets his old job back.
Yeah, goes back to jail.
Dumps the lady who supported him for the past 3 years, and it's just back to being an ass, a complete ass.
Yeah.
Stops being nice to all of the nice people that helped him out when he lived in the street.
Mr. Jeter gets the cold shoulder.
And has to hang out with a real D-bag.
With Q.
Yeah. King of the bronies.
King of the bronies.
Bronies.
Pressing in any way. We want to find a funny, upbeat way of bringing the issue of homelessness to television.
And this is so Scrooged right here. Wow. That, I don't know. This is well written.
Honestly, completely believable.
100%.
Yeah.
I think if you were to make a list of every show that's being made on network TV, you probably have an element of that in half of them. Ugh.
Room full of high-income white guys.
So there's another thing that Terry Gilliam likes to put in a lot of his movies, which is mental institutions and crazy people. Which reminds me again, I need to rewatch 12 Monkeys. That's been on my
he just keeps the casting notes from these scenes handy, and hands them to his gopher. Go get these guys.
Yep, I'm gonna need the usuals.
I love how everyone else is wearing the drab gray. Everything's white, and Robin Williams is in polka dot pajamas with some colorful sheets,
rainbow sheets. Yep.
Pinocchio with him. It's completely apart.
I do kind of wonder, like, in universe, how that happens. Like, did Bridges bring him jammies?
I assumed Lydia did.
Yeah, I kind of assumed Lydia did as well.
All right.
Because before he goes in to see him, she's in there and he kind of holds back.
Gotcha. Yeah. Of course, now we have to go. Wait,
I had one just quote
I
here.
feel sorry for you. It's easy being nuts. Try being me.
I just, his a-hole self-pity, like at the catatonic.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you've got it easy.
Yep. You just have to be unconscious.
Yeah. You get easy being in a vegetative state.
Jesus.
You've got it easy. What are you worried about?
Sleepyhead.
So I just thought this looked like an Escher drawing, and a lot of the lights in here. He does a lot of cool things with like the lights going through the open staircase and everything in this sequence. It's It's very cool.
No, it looks good.
So we see our billionaire. That was Nate's note.
Yeah, just
kills,
the fact that he is committing suicide, and this robbery effect of what is ultimately a meaningless trinket thwarts his suicide. We see later on a paper headline. I thought was, I don't know, just kind of interesting that he can't help but accidentally sort of do good when he's partying with Perry.
Right.
I had a question. I've never broken into, like an expensive, rich place that would, be guarded with high-tech lasers. Are the lasers in these sorts of facilities traditionally visible lasers, or do they exist outside the visible spectrum?
Indeed not.
Okay.
If you have enough smoke effects, you can see the laser. But this just looks like a stick of neon or something they stuck across the shot.
Right. I wondered. It didn't sit right with me.
I mean, it's a lot of spread for a red beam,
And you were there too. I really miss her, Jack. Is that okay? Can I miss her now?
Ugh. Yeah. Right in the gut, right?
Yeah. Twist that knife. Twist it.
Holy shit. I'm okay. I'm just as sad as I can be.
Yeah.
There's the bottom.
I'm back though.
And then these lunatics, literally.
Well, the thing I wanted to point out at 20920 here is one of them has got a Hitler mustache going, and so last week in Quiet Earth we had a Hitler cutout.
Madoff Schmittler.
This time we have
there he is.
Schmittler right there.
He's let's see if I can. Oh no, my hands are cropped off. It's right there.
I also like that if you notice the guy sitting in the middle. Earlier they showed had an open head wound. Now it's bandaged, but there's still blood all over his shirt.
Yeah, nothing bleeds like a head wound. You know that. You've got everyone's like in like their own state. It's kind of funny,
And here we are again with the male nudity.
Well, we have a brand.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
But I mean, they brought the little puppet to have a little nose boner.
Everyone, there's 3 wangs. Yes.
Yeah.
About you.
And they end with a nice little weird Hollywood bit of fancifulness here.
Say goodnight, Jack.
Good night, Jack.
Yay!
That's a really good movie. Yeah, Magnum. There is not enough fishing in this movie. He did not fish. Yeah, that's a good one. From another era for sure.
Thank you, Robert.
An excellent pick.
Indeed.
It is decent.
Now, it's my turn to pick now.
It is.
And I have one other important note, which is that this next movie is our 50th movie.
Whoa.
So with that in mind, I have been sitting on this one for a long time. But it's time for us to spend some time with our friends, the Tri-Lambdas, in Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, wow. All right.
Oh, yes.
I had this movie on VHS tape for my entire childhood. There are so many things in it that are so inappropriate for like a 9-year-old to have on a VHS tape.
And like problematic now.
Oh yeah,
Very
so problematic.
They didn't really read up on their consent.
Yeah.
That is...
Now, having said that, I can think of right now 1 or 2 lines that I still think are absolutely hilarious out of this movie.
I think that if you like played that movie back to me and asked me to transcribe the dialogue onto a notepad, I could probably get you a lot of it, but I also think I could probably line read the inflections on 2/3 of the dialogue in that movie, which is not good.
Yeah.
But you are all well aware of my fondness for that word, and that movie is where that all comes from. So I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
Okay.
But with that, gentlemen, thanks for The Fisher King. That was
Thank
a good,
you,
that's
Rob
a
Roseboom,
good movie.
for choosing this.
Excellent selection. Maybe a little sadder than I needed this week,
was
but
sad, you know?
it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
not bad to have a sad one every now and again.
That's true.
Not wrong.
Thank you, Nate Ostendorp. Chris DeBona.
Bye-bye.
Rob Roseboom.
Good evening.
I mean,
This has been episode 606, Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda. See you Friday with some news.